This should work, so I'm going to step
Okay.
out.
I remember when I joined this club, I think it was in 1984, 85. I was actually the youngest member of this Rotary Club. And this morning, Linda and I went down to kind of renew our mortgage and ran into a young lady there, Sylvia Laguerre, excellent. I swear she must have been 15 years old. Like, now I'm the oldest member of our Rotary Club, you know, like I'm in the death zone. So, anyway, it's a real privilege for me to introduce our District Governor, Joanne Croghan. I've mentioned at a couple of Rotary Clubs that I've only known Joanne for just a couple of years now, sitting on District Council. And every time I run into her, and every time I hear her speak, I become more and more impressed. She's comes across as an ordinary Rotarian that's done some extraordinary things, and I think you'll agree with me after you hear her today. Joanne was born in Seattle and has lived the greater part of her life in Seattle area, where she worked in advertising and public relations. She has one adult son, Patrick, who lives in Oregon. In 1980, Joanne moved to Bainbridge Island, where she was elected to the local park commission, where she served for over 8 years. Joanna lived in Nairobi, Kenya for 4 years in the late 1960s, and she'll speak more about that. She returned to Uganda in 2001 with a literacy project from Rotary. Joanne is married to Don Menino, and they are both members of the Rotary Club of Bainbridge Island. Joanne has been a Rotarian for over 20 years, and during that time she's chaired many committees: Youth Exchange, Membership, Fellowship and World Community Service. She was a club service director for 3 years and served as Centennial President 2004 to 2005. She's also attended 6 Rotary International Conventions. Dawn and Joanne are both Paul Harris Major donors and members of the Bequest and Paul Harris Societies. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Joanne Croghan. Thanks, Joanne.
Thank
I
you,
went the
Kim.
wrong way here.
So it's a real pleasure for me to be here. And as a way of introduction, I'll say that I joined the Rotary Club of Bainbridge Island about 20 years ago. Don was already a member. He had probably joined a year or two ahead of me. So we were for over 20 years in the same Rotary clubs with parallel lives. My focus was more on international, and his was more on community service and our club's fundraiser. In 2009, both of our spouses died in the very same month. Initially, we were consoling one another, and then things got a lot better, and I'm happy to report that today is our 4th wedding anniversary. Oh, thank you.
Don called me, or tried to get a hold of Ken and I, and arranged for us to have flowers here today for his wedding.
Oh, what a surprise, thank you. And I have to thank Don for, he's been driving, I think this is the 33rd club visit or something in that nature, and between Don and his GPS, we've located every club's location, so we're happy about that. As Ken said, I'm an ordinary Rotarian. I joined Rotary for a number of personal reasons connected to my elected position as a Park District Commissioner. As I was working my way through the acronyms, I served on a number of committees and was elected to the club's board of directors. Then I joined our club's Developing International Committee, where we printed booklets in a tribal language. Off to Africa I went to deliver those booklets. The local committee had selected 5 schools to receive the booklets. By the time I got to the 4th school, I had a pretty good idea of how students and faculty appeared in Uganda. Things were not right there. Even the students seemed almost depressed. And there was a coughing chorus in the background most of the time. This was an area that did not have a source of clean water. The women and children could either fill their containers from roadside ditches or walk to a nearby lake. If they gathered their water near the shore, it was sure to be contaminated. But if they waded out any distance, they ran the risk of being killed or maimed by crocodiles. Well, I went back and petitioned my club for the $6,000 needed for a deep water borehole. I went back the following year to help dedicate that borehole. And at that celebration, I learned that there were 80 other villages in that area that also had the same problem. Well, I knew I wasn't going to live long enough to do this 80 more times. But then I read in the Rotarian magazine about Rotary grants, and clubs only need to put up a small portion of the money, and then that's matched by district designated funds and the Rotary Foundation funds. Sometimes the amount needed is a little too much for one club, and the way around that is to work with another club or groups of clubs. Our district offers foundation workshops every fall on both sides of the border, and we have grant training at our district training assembly every spring. I call the grant information that's available to each of you as Rotarians leverage. I don't have the personal resources to help 2,000 people gain access to clean water. I don't have the personal resources to help wipe out a horrid, crippling disease such as polio. But as a member of Rotary, we can use leverage and be a part of making something really big happen. This is a great year for each of us to be members of Rotary. It is the centennial, the 100th anniversary of our Rotary Foundation. Our foundation began in 1917 when there was $26.50 left over from a Rotary International Convention. The Rotary Foundation began not with a lot of fanfare or a huge sum of money. Just like all Rotary projects, one Rotarian sees a need or has an idea and acts on that idea. Each of us has the power to see a need and act on it. Many of us have seen a need and asked ourselves, why doesn't somebody take care of whatever it is? Well, I challenge each of you, if you find yourself asking that, turn it around and ask yourself, why not me? The list of Rotary projects throughout the world that have been funded by the Rotary Foundation and 100 years of generosity by Rotarians and friends have grown this fund from the initial $26.50 to a fund that has an annual budget in excess of $250 million. This foundation works to alleviate poverty, improve health, expand educational opportunities, and promote peace in every corner of the world. And this fund is ours to access, yours and mine. We expand this Rotary Foundation fund and gain Paul Harris points or other recognition by donating either to the Rotary Foundation or to Polio Plus. This fund is available to us when we want to do projects using the global grant formula. Whether or not we ever choose to coordinate a global grant somewhere in the world, we make those things happen. Polio Plus began not in corporate headquarters somewhere, but in a Rotary meeting, just like yours. One Rotarian said to another, our children have been vaccinated against polio, but the children who live on the other side of the river have not. We could start a little project in our community in the Philippines and inoculate all of the children. Well, they did that, and it was successful, and some other communities heard about it, and eventually the Rotary Foundation developed Polio Plus. The job turned out to be a little bit too big for Rotary, and the World Health Organization joined in to help us. Turned out to be a little big for those resources, and the governments of many, many countries have put a lot of effort into it. And most recently, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has put millions into this effort. It is very likely that in the next Rotary year, we'll see the very last case of polio. When this happens, we'll still need to continue contributing to Polio Plus for 3 years. And once the world has been 3 years without a case of polio, That's it. We'll never see that one again. In this, our 100th anniversary, please consider a gift to the Rotary Foundation. Perhaps something around that $26.50 initial contribution might be a place to start. Might be wise to move the decimal point over 1 point for 265 just this year, or perhaps 100%, $100 for the 100th. Just have fun with this. No matter how small or large, your gift makes a difference. Once I learned about the Rotary grants that are available, and all of this is online now and easy to access, I applied for a Rotary grant to provide clean water to 10 additional villages, and then another for 11, and another for 11, and eventually a large global grant for over $1 million. And today, 191 villages now have a source of clean, tested water. Now, those people in the villages are very, very grateful to have clean water nearby. And they'd like to give a gift or recognize you in some way. These villages have no stores, no shops, not even a marketplace. The only thing they have to give is a chicken. And because they don't have electricity or refrigeration, that chicken needs to be alive. Well, I knew of that practice, but didn't know how I would behave if I were presented with a live chicken. Well, not only did it happen, but they gave me 2 chickens. So there I was with my 2 chickens, and I was able to hold them and be gracious and find them a new home. So I'm happy to report we did not have chicken soup that day. I share my story because ordinary Rotarians make a difference every day. When we hear the stories of what we have accomplished in Rotary and what others are accomplishing throughout the world, I would think everyone would want to be a member. The rules for joining are significantly more relaxed than they were when I joined. We no longer expect perfect attendance, but ask our members to make a difference in our communities. It's not that we no longer value good attendance, but that the workplace has changed over the years, and it's not always possible for people today. Many of you have a neighbor or friend who would make a good Rotarian. All you need to do is ask them to join you for a meeting. Why would we want more members? In order to do more projects, and every member has ideas. The Rotary organization was beginning to lose members some years back, and I think some of that was related to the economy at the time. So they hired a public relations firm that works with nonprofits and businesses to help them determine how they're received by the general public. They learned that people join Rotary primarily for friendship and to return some good back to their communities. They learned that people stay in Rotary for friendship and to continue to do work in their communities and throughout the world. But they also learned that 80% of people worldwide either have never heard of Rotary or have no idea what we do. So it's only 20% of people in the world know at least something about Rotary. They determined that because we had a different logo for Rotary, Rotaract, Youth Exchange, RILA, Interact, Youth Protection, Friendship Exchange, Rotary Foundation, and so many other aspects of Rotary, that we were confusing people. Our familiar mark of excellence that we all recognize is not recognizable to most people. But by adding the word Rotary so that it's right out there, then people do understand that it's Rotary. And as I said, I've been in Rotary over 20 years. I had a Rotary vest that I've been wearing all these years, and I bought a new one at a Rotary conference. It had the word Rotary before the mark of excellence. I wore it to the Trader Joe's store, which is near my home, and the clerk immediately asked me about Rotary because it was easy for him. The word was right there, and if you look around, you'll notice that a lot of other nonprofits and businesses have their symbol, but they also have their name to make it easy for people. So I just encourage you in any advertising, particularly things that go to the general public, to be sure that word Rotary is there. Let's make it easy for people. Each district governor throughout the world will have a district conference near the end of their year. I invite each of you to join me in Suquamish, Washington, next May 4th and 5th. We're combining the district training all day May 4th and the district conference all day May 5th. We will run a bus from the Port Angeles terminal of the Coho ferry, so if you'd like to go and not take your car all the way, that's an option for you. I think it'll be a great event. It's a state-of-the-art new facility, and so we hope you'll all come to that. And near the end of the Rotary year, the Rotary International President holds a convention someplace in the world. I'm pretty excited about June of 2017 because that convention will be held in Atlanta, Georgia. Many conventions are held in very large cities. We have been recently in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Seoul, Korea. In each case, it meant from our hotel room to the convention center at least an hour on a bus each way. Well, Atlanta has 10,000 hotel rooms within a 10-minute walk of their convention center. So if you've always thought you might want to attend one, this is one that I would encourage you to attend. What is Rotary? It is service. It is friendship, like we enjoy every week at our meetings, and it's leverage to enable us to do good in our communities throughout the world. And we have fun doing it. Rotary is our club. The opportunities for doing good in the world in your community are endless. Don't continue to sit on the sidelines if you really want to dance. If you want to dance, come to a district training or a grants workshop, learn the rules, and go for it. Each of us can make a difference. We all have something to give, and the Rotary organization makes it easy. Not only is it easy, but Rotarians have fun doing projects. Rotary serving humanity. This is the theme that Rotary International President John Germ has selected for this Rotary year. This is an easy one for a club like yours. Just keep doing what you've been doing so well for so long, and be sure to have fun. Thank you.